Good afternoon, Springmore. Thank you for joining me on Springmore 1341 here in the Springmore Auditorium. I'm here to have all your play-by-play action today. I'm joined by my wingman, Raleigh native and unfortunate Clemson graduate, Brad Dilday, our executive producer, Daniel Sakaris from the Steel City of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and our executive assistant from Long Island, New York, home of the Islanders, Holly Guilfoyle. So they're in attendance here today to help us get through our most recent town hall meeting. So thank you again, in all seriousness, for tuning in today. These have been widely accepted as pretty positive amongst everyone. So I thank you all for continuing to ask good questions, to continue supporting each other and informing not only myself but the staff of anything going on to help each other. It's really about residents helping out residents as much as the staff helping out residents at this point. So thank you again. We'll do a recap as normal on the portal. Daniel will have up the video shortly after it is over, and then we will have a memo that Holly is going to help me compose. This time she is here taking notes, so instead of me going back and kind of recapping everything and getting it out, she's going to do it for me. So I'll type up a email and the body of the email, and then she will send out all the kind of meeting notes, if you will. So it'll be everything summed up, so don't worry about that. Just make sure you read through it thoroughly, and please make sure you share it with all of your friends, family, or any other loved ones you have that may be in close contact with you. One thing we're going to start doing starting today or tomorrow when we get out the memo, we've been giving the memo to all of y'all, the independent residents, and I was hopeful that you shared that with your family members and, family and friends. But also, we've been giving it to the staff members and the families of the Stewart Health Center, so everybody's on the same page. One thing I've not done, because I've not had to do this before, but perhaps it's time to do that, is send the memo out to all family members. I think that may be good to do. I think perhaps not everybody gets the information or shares it, and it may help them understand everything we're trying to do, understand why we've had to put restrictions in place, and understand why things are different now and probably going to be different for a good bit longer, unfortunately. So I will get that to them. That's going to come from an email address, and any questions they have will come to a separate email address, and we'll answer those in a general summary to get back to everybody. So we're going to start that today to make sure all family members have the information, and just in case some residents aren't passing along to them. So far, we have not had any cases here at Springmore, knock on wood. Been very thankful and very blessed for that. I think part of our success has been a lot of early implementation of things, shutting down visitors to the health center early on, even restricting spouses eventually, which was a tough decision. But some of those early implementation of restrictions and tough decisions to stop certain social gatherings and activities, I think has proved us well so far. I think what the health experts recommend of social distancing and no gathering and staying at home is really working. It's actually proven to work. Things are starting to flatten off. Now, I'm not saying things are better, but it looks like they're going to get better. So we need to continue to practice that as well here at Springmore. And again, just taking early steps. I think the quarantining of any residents in independent living after an ER hospital stay or an overnight stay with a family member is very helpful as well. I don't think you can be too cautious in this type of situation. And then anybody coming to the health center, again, I mentioned last week we have a section off wing where anybody that is coming from the hospital or from the ER, they're in a quarantine wing where they have the same caretakers taking care of them every day. So they're only working with those group of residents and not the other residents. So again, this is a safety precaution. No one has the virus here as of yet. Pray that continues, but we're just taking extreme safety measures to make sure that we're isolating people that may have been at jeopardy of contracting the virus. So we'll jump into a few reminders and then some new information, and then we'll take calls again. Please wait to after the broadcast to do the calls, the number 7054, and we'll take those like normal. I want to start off with something I think we start off every week. We've done that, which is the mail. That continues to run extremely well thanks to our volunteers, mainly residents and some staff members like Leah and Brenda. And I'm sure there's a few others that I'm missing, but I can't thank Mr. Jerry Fuller enough and David Waters for heading that up at North and South Village. It continues to be a fantastic effort, and I just want to thank all the volunteers that's helping. A couple of reminders. Please try to check your mail every day. The mail does fill up really quick, and the in-house mailboxes are much smaller than the USPS boxes, so we can't fit everything in there. So if you can check it on a daily basis, that would be very helpful for all of the volunteers. Any large envelopes or memos, such as the one that will be sending out today or tomorrow, for at least for North Village, we're going to put those up in the boxes outside of Leah's office in the admin hallway between Juliana and Leah's office. There's just so much mail in those small areas, so we're going to shift to put larger envelopes and the memos in those baskets, which are alphabetized upstairs. As far as dining, I'm still just thrilled that continues to do well. We have a big operation, again, about 800 meals we do a day that we deliver, and I think staff's doing great with that. I hope Easter was a good meal. I heard good things about it. I am hopeful that we can continue to add some stuff eventually. I know people have asked about that, and I promise I've not forgot about it. It's just a lot of moving parts with a lot of things. Remember, we're still working out of the mobile kitchen, and there's just a lot. People are displaced out of offices. We only have one phone line right now, so there's just a lot of factors that play into adding much more right now, but we hope to get to that. I'm afraid we're going to be delivering food for a bit longer, even if things are lifted to where we can have a gathering of 50 people. We have way more of that in a dining room and on any given evening, so we may still be delivering meals for a while some eating in dining rooms. I have no idea, but I'm afraid that's going to continue a bit longer. So we'll continue to add things just as soon as we can. The other thing I wanted to mention was if you have not received your lunch by 12:30 or your supper by 6 o'clock, please call 919-971-1328. Again, that's 919-971-1328. That is a cell phone that the food service department has, and that's the only one that they check regularly for any food issues. So if you're missing your meal, please call that. We don't want you to go without a meal. That's one that they keep on them all the time. They're not in their office all the time. We only have one phone line in Jennifer's office, and she's very rarely in there. She's helping staff and helping with residents, and then only one in the other office where the other 4 or 5 staff members are. So remember to use that phone number. It will be in the memo, so you don't have to memorize it. A couple of other interesting things I thought I'd touch on other than something different than just the daily grind of the coronavirus. We're continuing to work on our renovation of the kitchen. That's going well. They're working on some plumbing this week. They've been working on plumbing for several weeks, but they've been having to come at night after hours to about midnight to work on some areas above the employee break room. So that continues. And once we get the plumbing fixed, the other stuff should move a little bit faster. I'll get a weekly update from the contractor to see how we're doing, and he's pleased with it so far. And really, it's kind of, at a weird time to have this mobile kitchen that we're delivering these meals, but it's maybe all this is a good thing all happening at once, get everything over with. We open up with a new kitchen and new everything, and we'll be ready to go better than ever. So that's still on track, and we're also still continuing to interview for chef positions. One of only a few good things I can think of out of this whole pandemic is there's, not good, but a lot of people are looking for jobs. So a community like us is attractive. I think it's always attractive because we're a steady, full community that's a big account for someone as a chef to come in. But a lot of restaurants, as you know, are closing or they're laying off people. So this has been a prime opportunity for us to find a good candidate for a chef. Unfortunate for them to be out of work, but a good time to maybe steal somebody or take somebody that's maybe recently been furloughed or laid off. So We have our first chef interview this coming Friday at 1 or 1:30. Can't exactly remember the exact time, but we have it in the afternoon, and hopefully that will be a good interview. We have some more, I think, set up soon, but we're continuing to move forward with that and hopefully have someone in place when the kitchen is all complete and before this is over. So that would be something great to have. So I'll keep everybody updated on that and let you know how the first interview goes after next week at the town hall meeting. Next, I want to move on to Pathways. Pathways incorporates a bunch of areas of resident life and spiritual wellness and physical wellness and all types of things. But got a few points I want to read from Carrie Ritchie. Carrie, as you know, is our fitness director. So first one is the fitness staff continues to hand out exercise equipment for residents to use in their home. If you'd like a ball, dumbbell, or band, please call Carrie Ritchie, and the staff will deliver it to your doorstep. So they'll bring it right to you. No need to go out. The new fitness videos are currently playing on 1341. You can access them on the portal, and that's under the video tab. A hard copy of the TV schedule was sent out last weekend as well, so you should have one in your box. And lastly, the fitness team will be hosting some fun challenges and activities that you can do on your own. This includes walking, fitness, bingo, and home exercises. Please read the newsletters that are sent to your in-house mailbox for more details. So Carrie is doing her best to keep everybody fit and active during this time. I hope people are getting outside individually or just as a married couple. And if married couple being that you live together. And getting out and walking and enjoying this time. It's beautiful weather to be outside, to get out and walk around. But if you can't do that, or if you choose to stay in, Carrie's got a lot of good stuff to kind of keep you going. Another thing I want to talk about from the spiritual wellness from Lori and Juliana is our latest weekly events for spiritual wellness. So we had a great Holy Week last week. We had a Monday, Thursday service, a Good Friday, and an Easter service. I heard those were all well attended. I saw them up on the portal. I've not been able to watch them yet, but I'm sure they were good. They're continuing to do stuff on the portal and do streaming Bible study and other things. One thing that they wanted me to highlight was a new Bible study that's going to start, I believe, this Tuesday, thank you. It's next Tuesday at 3 p.m. A new Bible study. It's called Why? Making Sense of God's Will. And it's by Adam Hamilton. And that's going to stream for 5 weeks. And again, that will be next Tuesday at 3 p.m. So y'all tune into that. Another thing that we want to do is work on something called Zoom. I have never heard of this term until about a month ago. And I was joking with Brad earlier about what happened to Skype and FaceTime. That's been around forever. And now Zoom comes on, and instead of seeing one people, you can see like 40 people. So I would assume that FaceTime or Skype could do that. Maybe they can, maybe they can't. Maybe it's the new thing. I don't know. But everybody's doing Zoom now, including people I work with and different community calls we have. So we want to try to implement that within Springmore. If you don't know what Zoom is a live interactive, application on a computer that you can talk to multiple people at one time. So if you're familiar with FaceTime on a cell phone of one person, I think you can do more than that now. You can have up to like 39 or 40 people. That'd be a little much. It'd be really hard to see, but you can have interactive stuff. So, for instance, Carrie could do a live exercise class that would be conducted through Zoom. It wouldn't be available on our resident portal, but it would be available on a tablet or a laptop or a computer. Juliana and Lori, they could do an interactive Bible study. So you can talk and interact with each other. So instead of just streaming the Bible study they're going to be doing, which is wonderful, you could actually interact and ask questions and talk to your other resident friends or with the leader of the group. Leah can do certain things as well, certain activities. So we're trying to look at how we can use that. I think that's going to be very important moving forward for us to interact with each other, with staff to residents and residents to residents. It's a good platform for that. I've even suggested eventually maybe committee meetings being held by Zoom. That was just an option. I know there's some people more savvy with computers than others. I don't even know how to do Zoom. Daniel's teaching us tomorrow, so I'll figure it out. He says it's very easy. So I threw that out there about committee meetings if you'd like to do that. I'm just afraid it's going to be quite some time before we can gather again, maybe in groups of 10, but I don't know how long that's going to be, and some committees are actually larger than 10. So what Daniel has done under the portal, in the portal under important links, there are tutorials about how to do Zoom. So I was going to have Daniel do a live presentation and a tutorial, but he said the stuff on the internet was actually better than he could do. That's hard to believe, but I took his word for it. Daniel's a pretty good teacher, but if you go in the portal and go under important links, you'll see that there are some tutorials for Zoom. So check it out. You should be able to figure, if you're savvy with the portal, I'm sure you can do Zoom. I think it's pretty easy. And if you like to use it, go ahead and use it with your friends and your family and residents, and we will try to maybe incorporate it with our staff to residents eventually. So just something to think about. Lastly, under Pathways, it's a great idea from Carrie Ritchie and Holly Guilfoyle about doing a slideshow to put up on the portal. I know a lot of people, it's very nice when you bring your kids here or the residency, any kind of kids. It brings excitement to them, and it's just really nice to see that. So we thought we would put up a slideshow of staff kids, their pets, and just something that y'all can kind of just something different on the portal that you can watch. So Carrie and Holly's put a lot of time into this, submitted pictures of kids and pets and all kind of cool things. So when that's up, well, actually, I know when it's going to be up. I got the dates and times right here. So we're going to air the first one. It's about 5 or 6 minutes long, maybe a little longer. Holly's not done with it yet, but the first one's going to air at 1:45 next Wednesday before this broadcast. So check that out. Tune in at 1:45, and we'll get this out in the resident memo. And then Thursday at 4 p.m., they're going to air it again. And for all you night owls, next Friday at 9 p.m. I know Brad will be asleep by then, but hopefully, 9 a.m. Oh, I'm so sorry. 9 a.m. So Brad will be up by 9 a.m., but he will be asleep by 9 p.m. So anyway, I just wanted to make sure you guys know that. Next Wednesday, 1:45 p.m. before this broadcast. Next Thursday, 4 p.m. And then the following Friday at 9 a.m. So check your local listings, 1341. So we'll put that in there. Next, I have some miscellaneous items I want to go over. A lot of questions are being asked about masks for residents and for staff, so I want to address that. I want to address the staff first. As y'all probably know, or hopefully know, that last Friday it was mandated that all staff in skilled nursing facilities wear masks. So we had most staff members, if not all, already wearing masks, but we all essential staff, direct caregivers, but then we enforce it for all housekeepers, anybody in laundry or dining service that actually works in the health center. So now every employee within the health center is wearing a mask 24/7, around the clock, every shift. So that is mandated. That's got to happen. There's other areas I think it's best practice where we started doing that with dining services. So it started with the people running the food down the hall, and then the people in the mobile kitchen. They're very close to each other. So now everyone in dining services is wearing masks. Again, it started with the cooks and the runners, and then when we started assembling the food for the delivery, they started wearing them then, and now everybody has them. So food service, very important. They're wearing them. As we continue to get more, my goal is to have every staff member in a mask. That is not a requirement, but I think it's a good practice and a good safeguard for employees to have masks. I just got another shipment in today of, I think, about 100 masks. I think all the health centers should be fine. We'll divvy some more out to the housekeepers, more to dining, and then I'll get some more into it to administration. A lot of people are wearing their own mask already. These cloth masks are as effective as a surgical mask, if not better, and they're reusable and they can be washed. So we're going to send those out to everybody, all of the staff members, so they have those. If there's anybody in the health center walking down the hall, it maybe give them a peace of mind. Masks are a little deceiving in the fact that they do not protect the person wearing the mask from getting any symptoms or any virus. It protects them from spreading it, which is great. I mean, it just, a lot of people think, well, if I wear the mask, I can't get the coronavirus. Well, that's not true. You can still get it. It just helps you spread the symptoms to somebody else, which is, I think, just as important. So anyway, just to kind of clear that up, there's a lot of stuff about that, and we have a wonderful infection control nurse, Margot Malley, who helps us with that and kind of goes over all that. So we'll get staff into that. As far as residents, I have not been able to find a vendor yet that can supply everybody with masks. I am having to piece it together myself. Again, we have masks for the essential areas that have to have it, which is the health center. We have full PPE, face guards, gowns, masks, N95 masks, sanitizer, everything you have to have. But as far as getting it to all the staff, that's been tough. So for residents, that's even tougher. So that's another 500. So everybody's really strained right now trying to get masks. I have a call into a company in Cary to see what I can find out about. So I asked if you have any friends that are making masks, see if they can make one for you. If friends at church that are making them, please ask them. If I find a lead on something where I can't purchase some for everybody, I'll let you know where you can maybe go get 10 or 15 at a time, and y'all could pitch in and get them together, or somebody buy them all and just give them out. But getting a mass order of 500 masks is extremely hard to do right now. So I am working on it, but it's not a requirement that y'all wear them. It's highly it's recommended by everybody to wear them. But just be mindful of that we are working to get those to you. I do want to thank Ms. Harriet Ross and about 10 volunteers. I wish I knew all their names that have helped make masks. They made over 100 masks for the health center, which has really helped us with our mask supply early on. So literally, y'all been lifesavers. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. The last two things I want to talk about is visitors. I had a resident email me this morning and say, don't use the word reiterate. He said he counted 20 times I used that. So I'm sure I did. I know telling what I said today 15 or 20 times, but I will use the word stress, recap, reinforce, beg, plead, anything to ask you in all seriousness to make sure your family and friends know that there are no visitors allowed on Springmoor. I know we have early on, we've allowed it and it was cut back, but now absolutely no questions asked, no visitors are allowed at Springmoor. It's all or nothing at this point. I can't differentiate between one or the other. Early on, we were going to have family members that have a loved one in the health center going up to the glass to see their loved one, but I had to stop that. It's not fair for them to come into campus and see somebody, and then you go, if you're independent living, you can't have a family member come. So it's all or nothing. This is not uncommon to happen. I know it's may seem very strict for some people, but I think the majority of 97%, I feel confident, agree with that and think that's the right thing to do, even though it's inconvenient and it seems like a prison, and it's just miserable, to be quite honest, that you can't have visitors here. But it's absolutely important that we do that. Again, it's been proven that social distancing, no gathering, no contact is effective. I think that's one thing, like I said early on in the broadcast, that this was really something that's helped us. So please remember, no visitors. Continue to report them. I get reports all the time. I got 2 over the weekend. You can continue to call the front desk and call the guards, have them to go out so we can ask them to leave. Again, I'm hoping for the main reason of my memo to send out today or tomorrow for the family members that everybody knows and understands why we're not allowing visitors. It's a terrible thing for me to say, your family member can't come on, can't come on campus. It's awful. I hate to say to do that, but it's something that I've been tasked to do, and I think it's the right thing to do to keep everybody safe. So I don't know when that will be lifted. I can't say. I got some closing thoughts here I'll say in a minute, but just I beg you to tell your families for no visitors. Lastly, I got a couple of just random things I want to talk about. I don't know how long that this is going to go on for any of us or for just things in general. I think, like most people, that things will loosen up over time, probably sooner than later, maybe over the next month. Maybe, that you can go into maybe eat in restaurants eventually with maybe 50 or less, maybe go in non-essential stores. Just things will loosen. But I don't think things are going to loosen here for a while because we're such a vulnerable group here at Springmore and Cypress and Cardinal and all the other 9 CCRCs and hundreds of other assisted livings and skilled nursings throughout the Triangle that you see the news, you see it, it spreads like wildfire. And we don't know how it happens, how it gets in there, but it happens. And it's very scary, and we've been very thankful so far. So I think it's important when things start to loosen up that we don't let our guard down. Now, I'm not saying that we can't have gatherings of 10 people or things of that nature, but I think restrictions as far as visiting the health center, I think that's going to unfortunately go on for quite some time. Visiting for independent living, I don't know. It's not going to be next month, I don't think, and I think that's the right thing to do. So we have 600 residents here on campus and about 500 employees. So we have to make sure we keep everybody safe. So I don't plan on lifting or loosening anything until it's absolutely right. We have a good way of kind of gauging that based on what other communities are doing, based on best practices from CDC and CMS and those same people you've heard me talk about since day one, but they are the experts in that, especially with this type of community. We're not a hospital. We're a mixture of people. With a mixture of people, we're predominantly 65 and over community with about 600 people total that are unfortunately more vulnerable than any other group to catch this virus. So that's why we got to keep our guard up and not let up on anything. One thing I failed to mention, I'll end with is, if you need something from your family member, I've listed my last memo. There are 2 things you can do. They need to come to the front desk so we know they're on campus. They drop it on a table right where Marlene or Edith or whoever's at the desk at the time, and we will make sure that gets to your loved one. So please do that. The Springmore staff can go out and buy things for you. So please make sure that you're using that. If you're using kind of any online ordering services for groceries, please use that. They'll drop it at the front door of Springmore, the main entrance, and the guards will bring it to you. So again, there's nothing I can do to stop you from going out, but I can implement things if you come back in. So if you go overnight, or if you have to go out to the hospital, we'll have to do the isolation. But a doctor's appointment, we can take you just like you can go. So I can't stop that, but I can, control visitors, and I can control when people come back in and what we have to do to keep everybody safe. So please tell people, if you need something, just drop off at the front desk. I promise we'll get it to you. If I have to bring it to you myself, I promise we'll get it. So let's all do our part to keep people safe during this time. I think things finally seems to be some light at the end of the tunnel, but I think we're still a ways from that, unfortunately. So thank you again for tuning in. We'll take any calls that you guys may have. 7054. It looks like Daniel's probably already got some. I was thinking I wouldn't get any today. Oh, and there's the phone right now. All right, Daniel.
The Harris Teeter's doing pickup groceries for seniors on Thursdays from 9 to 2. If they have no car, can a driver go pick up groceries
Okay. So the question was, Harris Teeter has, when is that, Daniel?
They have senior pickup on Thursdays from 9 to 2, grocery pickup.
It was a senior pickup for grocery service at Harris Teeter on Thursdays from 9 to 2. If you don't want to leave, which I encourage you not to, call the front desk or call Holly. Did they concierge service? Did they call call the front desk and they will set up a concierge service. We'll have Springmore security guard or driver go pick up your groceries for you. Right now, we're not doing near as many doctor's runs because, of course, there's not a lot of people that are being seen unless it's essential. So we do have staff here that can go pick that up. So Harris Teeter, free pickup for seniors, Thursday, 9 to 12. Call the front desk, 9 to 2, a little more time, and 9 to 2 Thursdays, and Springmore staff will pick it up for you. So the question was, why did we close the secondary entrance off Sawmill Road going to the houses and villas? And that's just, again, another safety measure just to make it to basically, I'll be honest, not to make it convenient for people to come in. One way in a North Village and one way in a South Village. So that's just another way to hopefully deter people from coming in, stop traffic. The only thing I can think to do if visitors continue and it just continues to be like that is just put a guard at each entrances, kind of around the clock. And I would really hate to do that. I don't think that's necessary, but that's kind of worst case scenario. But again, the gate was closed just to it's an extra precautionary measure just to have one way in and out.
How are we handling people that have part-time jobs in other communities or places of employment?
Okay. So the question was, how are we handling other people that have part-time jobs at other communities or employment? We're figuring out who they are, and we're asking them and screening them. There are a lot of people, unfortunately, in healthcare, direct caretakers that work at different places. We were talking about that the other day on the call at Leading Age about if we said, oh, none of the people that work at other places, we wouldn't have staff here. So we are screening them. They have to let us know if they work at a place where there's been a case, and they have to report any symptoms. So it's no different than me and Daniel going home every night. I mean, I don't think you work a second job, do you, Daniel? Okay, I don't either. So I don't work a second job. I go home for a second shift. The kids like Daniel, but people do come and go. So all we can do is screen those people and ask them to make sure they tell us if they have symptoms, so we can ask them to stay out for the 14-day quarantine. The question is, it says, any staff or residents been tested for the virus? And that is no to my knowledge. I have not had anyone. No, let me take that back. No staff members I know of have been tested for the virus. There have been some residents in the hospital that I believe have been tested for precautionary measures, but nobody has came back positive whatsoever. So I can't tell you exactly. I mean, there may be people that went to the doctor's office for all I know and perhaps been tested, but to my knowledge, there's maybe one or two that's been in the hospital for precautionary measures, been tested, but no staff that I'm aware of. Okay, so the question was, somebody saw a big white van at entrance 3 and East. I will call the front desk. It could be a contractor. We are, again, letting essential contractors in. We still got to make sure we have lights and water and all those heating, all those essential amenities. So it may be a contractor. They should be checking in with Randy, and they're being screened. They should have a contractor badge on. So if you see somebody, just call the front desk. But you're going to see certain required or people that are been approved to come into Springmore, and they're going to be more home care workers and essential contractors. But if in doubt, just call the front desk. I wouldn't hesitate just to call. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, okay. So good question. Whoever that is, thank you for doing that. So the question was that had a resident whose family member was going to take her to the doctor, to a dentist appointment, but now wants Springmore to take her. If you call Tracy in the main office, what's the extension there, Holly? 7111. Tracy Roach, 7111. She'll set you up to get you over there to the doctor. She handles all the transportation, and I'm sure we can fit you in pretty easy. We don't have as many runs right now, so just call her, and she'll get you squared away with one of our Springmore drivers. Yes, somebody wanted to just commend Bob and Emily McGaffin for the fantastic job they've done at that store, and I've said that before too. That store has been so essential during this time. I can't even imagine not having it. It is. I was looking at the financial statements, and the store is just a break even. We just we pay for the stuff, and it's just offsets each other. We don't make any money off the store, but our expenses have been way higher than what we've been making because of the amount of stuff that they've been buying, which is great. I say a lot, it's $2,000, but it's so essential now, and to have somebody so dedicated like Bob and Emily to actually do that, to make sure their fellow residents have things that are needed and not have to go out and put themselves in harm's way and getting around a group of people. I mean, it's one of those things that we should really be highlighted. I mean, a letter to the editor or something written to the newspaper or the news. I mean, it's amazing. There's a lot of residents out there that are great writers that know people. I would highly recommend we try to recognize them in a bigger way than maybe we can, but they've been absolutely wonderful. So thank you both very, very much. Yeah. Yeah, so the question was, can items be dropped off at the South Village security desk instead of North Village? And yes, they can. We should, there's a receptionist there 24/7 at North Village. That's why I always say that. Sometimes the guard and the receptionist and if the guard's up during the day, like Jim Davis, he may have to go do something. But we try to keep that desk covered as much as we can now. But yes, you can drop stuff off over at South Village. Just do not go past the security guard gate, security desk right there. Just have it right there, and they can get it to you. But worst case scenario, drop it off here. Jim Woody goes back and forth across that street about 200 times a day, so I can assure you'll get your stuff over there. Okay. Yeah, so somebody said on the back of the News and Observer sports page, I'd love to know what's on the sports page these days. I hadn't even watched any. There's nothing to watch except reruns. But somebody said there's a how to make a mask on the back of the sports page, a tutorial. If anybody wants to check that out, so that's really neat. That's very helpful. So please, if anybody's got any old News Observer, if you subscribe to it online, it may be on there. But maybe call around some of your friends and put it in an in-house mailbox or make a copy of how to do that. I'm sure there's a lot of women, maybe even men, who can make some of these masks, and I'm sure some of the ladies here that know would be happy to try to walk you through it. So the question was, other employees leaving here and going to other places of work, is that at a greater risk? I mean, I would have to say yes. Unfortunately, I think that's just. I'm not ashamed to say that. It's just the more you're around people, the more that you have a risk. That's why we're telling people not to do that. So we're not. That's why we're very diligent about screening the employees, making them sign these forms, and making sure they report any symptoms to us ASAP. So it's almost impossible to just police everybody, But yes, I mean, like Dr. Fauci said the other day, if we would have started social distancing earlier, we would have had less deaths. If we would have started later, we would have had more deaths. We started when they started it, and we're at where we're at now. So, yes, it's just the more you're around people, the more you're gonna have a better risk. But we do all we can to make sure employees are, we do make sure they're screened and that they're healthy when they come in here to work. All right. Well, thank y'all again. Those are great questions. Those are great concerns. I trust me, I think about it all the time. It's a lot of decisions that go into this, and I just want to say I have an awesome task force that I've created. The mixture of people from Randy Horton to Ken and Brad and Leslie and Carrie and Margot from the Health Center and Carrie Ritchie and Jennifer and Terry, housekeeping and dining. I'm sure I'm missing some people. We meet once a week. We met today, and we go over things. We talk about things. We see what's next, what we need to do, things they have. So we do that on a weekly basis, and we stay up all the time. The staff stays up with what's going on. So we're doing the best we can. Thank you again for all the compliments and the nice comments that y'all have given all of us. It means the world to us that y'all are so thankful to be here, and that y'all feel safe as possible here, and I'm actually glad to be here. So I know it's kind of a downtime. I hope that you're getting called every week. I think by Joyce and Allison, that's something we wanted to start to make sure everybody's touched once a week. I know it can get lonely during this time. I go nuts at my house sometimes, wanting to just go somewhere. Anywhere. So I can understand how it can be. So just don't hesitate to call somebody. Like I said, any department manager you need, Allison Weaver, the independent social worker, the chaplains, they love to come visit. They've stopped that unless it's end of life, just to practice social distancing. But we're all here to help and talk to you if you need anything. So thank you. God bless all of y'all, and we will see y'all next week.